Hello, I'm Eileen McHugh with the BBC News. President Biden says he wants to see at least 70% of adult Americans receive their first dose of a COVID vaccine by Independence Day on the 4th of July. He's also hoping to expand the vaccine rollout to younger age groups, as Peter Bowes explains.
I think the most interesting thing that's happening right now is the focus on young Americans aged between 12 and 16. And the likelihood is by the beginning of next week, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine will be authorised for that age group. Currently, only 16 years and above can get the vaccine. And that will be very significant. There's something like 70 million young Americans in that age group. And statistically, the number of new cases in the teenage years are about 22%, which is about 3% higher than last year. So there's been some concern that more young people are contracting the virus.
The white former Minneapolis police officer convicted last month of the murder of the black man George Floyd has requested a new trial. Derek Chauvin's legal team filed court documents alleging misconduct by both prosecutors and jurors. They said the process had not been impartial because of pre-trial publicity. In Spain, the centre-right People's Party made major gains in Tuesday's vote to the Madrid Regional Assembly, more than doubling its seats. However, it fell short of a majority and will need the support of the far-right Vox Party to govern. The Socialist Party of Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez suffered its worst-ever result in Madrid. The PP's regional leader, Isabel Díaz Ayuso, had opposed some restrictive national coronavirus measures. She said the vote was a strong rejection of the central government's policies.
Madrid is freedom, and they don't understand our way of living. That's why Sánchez and his colleagues do not enter Madrid, because it can't be directed, can't be controlled, and things can't be imposed here. Because freedom means a person can start again 1,000 times, give opportunities for young people and security for the elderly. That's freedom, and they wanted to take it away from us.
The Brazilian former health minister Luís Mandetta has told senators at a congressional inquiry that President Jair Bolsonaro had repeatedly ignored warnings that his anti-scientific response to the pandemic was putting tens of thousands of lives at risk.
We expressly recommended the President change his stance following the recommendations of the Health Ministry, since the adoption of measures in the opposite direction might generate a collapse of the health system and very serious consequences for the health of the Brazilian population.
Mr. Mandetta said Mr. Bolsonaro had listened to advisers playing down the virus, who pushed the idea that Brazil could achieve herd immunity without shutting down its economy. You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. A group of European companies have threatened to stop using Brazilian agricultural goods if the country's Congress passes a law expanding property rights for illegal land grabbers in the Amazon rainforest. Environmental campaigners in Brazil have warned that the bill would legitimise illegal deforestation. The retailers include Norway's biggest pension company, KLP, and several of the UK's largest supermarket chains. The Colombian president has called for the establishment of a citizens' forum to discuss the country's problems as protesters take to the streets for a 9th day. Iván Duque said he wanted political movements, the business community and social groups to begin a dialogue to end the protests that have claimed at least 19 lives in the last week. Mountaineers and authorities at Everest Base Camp in Nepal say they are seeing rising numbers of climbers with COVID-19 symptoms and positive tests. The officials said if the trend continued, there could be a serious outbreak. Navin Singh Khadka reports.
Officials at base camp told the BBC they had received reports of 17 cases, and a private hospital in Kathmandu has confirmed that patients had tested positive for coronavirus on arrival from Everest. The government-authorized medical clinic at the base camp has no COVID testing facilities, and a doctor working there has said the number of people with COVID-like symptoms is on the rise. The government has issued around 400 climbing permits for Everest this season, and they will be supported by more than 1,200 staff, including from the Sherpa community.
The English football club, Manchester City, has reached the final of the European Champions League for the first time in its history. They beat Paris Saint-Germain 2-0 in Manchester in the second leg of their semi-final. That means they win the tie 4-1 on aggregate. Manchester City will play either Chelsea or Real Madrid in the final. BBC News.